Yes, we are good.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Franz, and I'd like to call the meeting of Wednesday, January 22nd for the Indio Planning Commission to order. If I could please have roll call.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Present.
Commissioner Santos,
Present.
Commissioner Franz,
Present.
Commissioner Rodriguez Ceja,
Present.
and Commissioner Fajardo is absent today.
Thank you. Commissioner Ceja, could you lead us in pledge, please? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 3, rotation of chairperson and vice chair.
If you want to call a 5-minute recess, I just have to switch the titles on the nameplates.
We'll call a 5-minute recess, then we'll be back. Thank you.
I believe we should be ready.
Okay, call the meeting back to order. And it's time in the agenda for public comments that are not, for items that are not on the agenda? We have to do the rotation stuff. Oh, we still have to do the rotation? Yes. Oh, roll call. So let's call roll call.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Present.
Commissioner Santos,
Present.
Commissioner Franz,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja,
Present.
and Chairperson Fajardo is absent today.
Thank you, Paulina. And this time in the agenda is set for public comments for items that are not on the agenda.
There are no public comments.
Thank you. Now it's time in the agenda to approve our Planning Commission meeting minutes for December 11th, 2024.
Mr. Vice Chair, members of the Commission, I would like it if this item can be continued to the next meeting when we would have 3 people actually were in attendance, hopefully from the last meeting.
Do we need to make a motion, or?
Yeah, just make a motion to continue the minutes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue the minutes to the next Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Aye.
Commissioner Santos,
Aye.
Commissioner Franz,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, let's open up public hearing items. Item 7.1, resolution number 2102, a request for conditional approval of a tentative parcel map. Do we have staff report?
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Nico Huitron. I'm an assistant planner with the Community Development Department. Tonight, I will present the tentative parcel map number 38856 for case file plan TPM 240006 for your consideration. The applicant, Richard Bauer, is requesting approval for a tentative parcel map number 38856. The project is located south of Avenue 38 and west of Jefferson Street, within the assessor's parcel number 691-050-020. The site is designated as Desert Estates Transition in the general plan and zoned Desert Estates Transition 3 in the Unified Development Code, which both support the proposed subdivision. The subject property consists of parcel APN 691-050-020. The project area is strategically positioned within an area that aligns with the city's land use goals of the Desert Estates Transition zoning, promoting the balanced development while preserving the neighborhood character. The tentative parcel map proposes a subdivision that adheres to the City of Indio's zoning requirements and the Subdivision Map Act. The layout has been designed to ensure compatibility with the surrounding properties. The staff analysis is that the project complies with the City of Indio General Plan 2040 and the Unified Development Code. The project complies with the Subdivision Map Act, and with application of relevant conditions of approval, the project can be approved. The conditions of approval are binding and must be adhered to. With that, staff recommends to approve Resolution 2102, recommending the conditional approval of tentative parcel map number 38856. Thank you for your time. The applicant is here for any questions that you may have for the applicant. And
Thank you.
Staff is also here too for any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff? Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing and let the applicant do a presentation.
A little better there, okay. Hello, and thank you for having take my presence today. My name is Richard Bauer, and I'm the owner of the property here. Bought it back in 2017 with this grand idea of doing something special with it, and as I got to retirement age, it doesn't work out and no longer fits within my ability to maintain it like I should. So the goal I had here was to at least subdivide it and then sell the northern half, as well as then the southern half. I actually have a neighbor who would like to purchase that at a date in the future. So I honored his request and started the subdivision process, actually. That's what started the whole subdivision process. So I'm here right now just requesting that it be approved so I can go forward with the sale of the northern half first and then the southern half second.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and see if there are any public comments on the item.
There are no public comments.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And open up for deliberation. Any comments?
No, this one's pretty simple, I think. So unless anybody has comment, we can just move on to a motion.
I agree.
I agree too.
I'll make a motion that we approve item 7.1, resolution 2102, recommending the conditional approval of tentative parcel map number 38856, case file number plan TPM 24-006.
I second.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Ortiz?
Yes.
Commissioner Santos?
Yes.
Commissioner Franz?
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you and congratulations. Good luck with the projects. All right, moving on to public hearing item 7.2, a resolution number 2101. It's a request for Planning Commission conditional approval of a planning review application. We've seen this previously. Do we have a presentation?
Yes.
Please.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Again, my name is Nicolas Huitron, and I'm an assistant planner with the Community Development Department. Today, I will be here to present the planning review application for Casa del Cava, the project, the case file number plan PRD 240012. With Walter Daniels submitted the Casa del Cava project application on behalf of the property owner K.E. Manny. The proposal includes the development of a 32,000 square foot bed and breakfast. The site covers one parcel totaling approximately 3.3 acres located near the southwest corner of John Nobles Avenue and Arabia Street. The site is zoned Connected Neighborhood 20 and has a general plan designation of Connected Neighborhood High, both of which support the intended use. As you may recall, the Casa del Cava project was previously reviewed by the Planning Commission on December 11, 2024. During that meeting, the Commission raised several questions and concerns, prompting a vote to continue the item to allow staff adequate time to provide more detailed responses. This evening, I will address key points and provide the necessary clarifications. So let's start with an overview of those key discussions. Is there one question that was asked was there a TOT tax? Yes, per section 34.36 and 34.37 of the Indio Municipal Code, the applicant will be required to pay into the TOT tax. The employment opportunities, per the applicant, there will be 8 full-time positions, 25 part-time positions, and during the construction, there will be 400 temporary construction job opportunities for residents and everyone around. Are there other bed and breakfasts in the city? The short answer is no. However, with research with the finance department, there are currently no active business licensed bed and breakfasts within the city of Indio. Will the applicant live on site? Yes, the applicant will live on site. Specifically, per the applicant, he will live within the main villa on the 2nd floor. If that happens to get rented out, because every portion of the bed and breakfast is available to be rented out, the applicant will reside within the southern part of the facility. There is a owner's quarters where he can reside as well. How long are the expected stays? The expected stays are around 2 to 3 nights. And the concerns for the scale of the project meets all height and setback requirements for the connected neighborhood zone. There is, unfortunately, in our Unified Development Code, there's no definition for any type of small scale or any type of scaling within the Unified Development Code that could be provided to meet. The project location is situated south of John Nobles and west of Arabia Street. Adjacent uses include residential to the north, south, east, and west. The location aligns with the permitted uses within the Unified Development Code. The site plan, as you can see here, outlines the layout, which includes the 32,000 square foot development of the bed and breakfast with 8 guest suites and associated amenities, including swimming pools, spas, a yoga studio, fitness room, dining court, parking, and open spaces. The building elevations is the north of the main residence, the east. We have aerial east and south view of the project, as well as north and west. And the landscape plan, which provides, is proposing 24.6% of landscape area with the city standard, meeting the city standards of with 10%. There are conditions of approval during the time between when the continuance from December to now. There was 3 conditions that were added. 2 were for landscaping, which are development standards for landscaping that all applicants and developments are required to meet. We just wanted to include them in the resolution, as well as condition 50 that was added for fire. With staff analysis, the project is compliant with the City of Indio General Plan 2040. The project is compliant with the Unified Development Code. The project is categorically exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act. With relevant conditions of approval, the project can be approved. Conditions of approval are binding and must be adhered to. So with that, staff recommends approval of Resolution 2101, conditionally approving case file number Plan PRD 240012 for the Casa del Cava project. And I'm here for any questions that you may have, as well as the applicant is here for any questions in the presentation.
Thank you, Nico. Do we have any questions for staff?
No.
I think I have one. There was some concerns, if I remember correctly, about IID and connecting. Is that all under all the plans of conditional of approval, and they just have to deal directly with IID, right? It's something completely out of our scope.
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yes, so IID does provide conditions for all the projects. What IID provides are conditions that must be met, and we include them in all of our resolutions. And those items, like you said, are worked through with IID.
Perfect, thank you.
Nico, I do have a question. You said that we don't have a definition for scale neighborhood, but we do have a permissible uses, the types of commercial uses, bed and breakfast being one of them. Would you mind just sharing what are the other commercial uses, and what is the definition of the NC? NC 20.
The Connect CN20. Yes.
CN 20. Thank you.
So I provided all of as you can see, there are multiple permitted and unpermitted uses, whether it be with a CUP or an AUP, or permitted outright, that are within the Connected Neighborhood 20 column. If you'd like, I mean, we could go through and read all of them, but I did include it in my presentation because I felt that the question was going to be brought up. So they are all here for public view, and can go through all of them.
No, that's not necessary. Just once again, the Connected Neighborhood is meant to have commercial development. It's primarily housing, meant to have commercial development that is of direct benefit to the community or something like that. Ms. Lawyer, just want to make sure that I'm getting my...
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I do know what you are talking about. Unfortunately, right now, my Unified Development Code is not coming up. It is not responding. But
Yes, I can read it in.
But if you, I don't know if it'll come up or not, but I do know exactly what you are talking about. I'll see if I can get it. Hold on.
I could read it
Here
into
it
the
is.
record. Oh.
Okay, I found it too.
The Connected Neighborhood 20 zone provides a range of intensities and housing choices within a walkable neighborhood setting in a close proximity to goods and services that meet daily needs. Appropriate housing types include single-family attached dwelling of various sizes, courtyard apartments and condos, and medium-sized multifamily buildings designed to promote neighborhood compatibility with densities up to 20 dwelling units per acre. Small-scale non-residential uses may be incorporated in the form of live work units and corner shops, primarily along mixed-use corridors or at edges of centers. This zone implements the Connected Neighborhood General Plan land use designation.
Thank you very much. Okay. We'll go ahead. If there are no other questions for staff, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing.
And
Yes,
Mr. Chair, members of the
please.
commission, if I may, just for the record, just prior to opening it, I did have a chance to confer with Commissioner Santos and Ortiz, and both of them did, in fact, listen to the public hearing, the continued public hearing from the December meeting, and so they would, in fact, be able to vote. They have heard absolutely everything with respect to what was offered at that meeting.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for listening. All right. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing, the public comment section, and see if the applicant has any presentation or would like to address the commission. Thank you.
Good evening. Vice Chair Christian. That's how I have it here. I asked for the right pronunciation. I am pleased to be here before you today as we resume our discussions regarding the proposed Casa del Cava bed and breakfast estate on John Nobles Avenue, located south of the Highway 111 in Midtown Indio, celebrating the city's history and its present by bringing a new lodging establishment which delivers the highest possible impact economically, environmentally, and culturally to Indio. While we thrust into a new year, governor and governoree, landowner and neighbor, to unlock a diverse range of residential market offerings to our city. Since conceptualization, the relatable Casa del Cava has earned its popularity around the neighborhood, throughout the walls of City Hall, and across the Southern California shores. And we have a petition here signed by a number of neighbors in favor. If Paulina, you can accept this, please. I present a petition signed by several neighbors in support of the proposed development. We were among the first to warn this administration, pointing out the challenges the city has in terms of power scarcity, how that would drive construction jobs and businesses which have built the desert over decades and across generations on the street, and equally lead to the double challenge of housing scarcity. The response we always got was an acknowledgement of such challenges and later commendable action the administration took as relates to addressing the power scarcity challenge, I believe the only of the 9 cities. In parallel, the city's leadership was clear and consistent in pointing out the fact that Indio equally and urgently requires 500 new lodging units. That, coupled with a breakdown of negotiations between city and investor over the city-owned lot 500 feet west of my land, a development which was approved by this city's planning commission less than 24 months ago, with the mention in the Desert Sun article titled "Plans to Revitalize Indio's Zombie Mall Scrapped Yet Again, How We Got Here," published May 2023, which details a project poised to receive a 150-room hotel 500 feet down the road, which would have made it the second largest lodging established in eastern Coachella Valley and one of the tallest buildings in the city of Indio, arguably the largest, tallest privately owned. These factors combined emboldened me to invest in this city, convinced of the market demand for a unique offering that is consistent with the extra legroom that residential estates offer, especially south of the 111, but also of the city's seriousness in addressing its challenges at large and without delay, coming from an infrastructure guy. The city's codes are clear. Bed and breakfast use is permitted by right, per UDC zoning, and the density pertaining to our permitted use and other permitted uses, which include senior care and a whole lot of uses permitted, is also clear, evidently marked by high land use designation per Indio General Plan 2040. This urban infill development equipped with its own CARB-compliant and CARB-funded power generators is energy self-sufficient, as it does not consume any of the precious electrical grid commodity, in line with my personal sustainability beliefs, as well as the state's, in addition to other water treatment, reuse, recycling system, and many, many others that will be deployed. And our contribution does not stop here. We have outlined a series of programs and initiatives which engage the community on the cultural front, another of a personal thing that I'm passionate about, especially music, not the kind of music that happens on the road. All 3 factors, economic, environmental, and social, combined, put together, will achieve the gold standard in triple bottom line impact urban development and will have an exponential multiplier effect on city and resident alike. And that includes the construction. Further, the applicant has furnished city staff with numerous examples of STR estates throughout India, including palatial estates, some with their own lagoons and rivers, landowners who decided that doing what is comfortable or comparable will yield average results and did not accept such outcomes for their lands and went about it the Indio way. Further, the applicant has furnished city staff with numerous references of B&B estates throughout the state of California, varying in size from large to larger to full-blown resort scale. Further, one cannot help but notice the declining trend of fewer lodging establishments opting for brand conversion nationally, and I'll explain. Not a surprise when brand loyalty is now ranked the 7th driver to signing up for travel loyalty programs. I was personally surprised by that, actually. At the top of the list are factors including seeking unique opportunities, followed by access to better services, quote unquote, both. Further, the demand for the Coachella Festival is down double digits year on year. Stagecoach, unsurprisingly, is doing very well. That said, STR rates are down for all, emphasizing our point that the mere focus on such events, although good for the city, and we're obviously a team player there, a mere focus on such events needs to be mitigated by lodging establishments which are able to leverage other drivers such as wellness, sustainability, and affordable culinary, cultural themes in our case, to entice tourists year-round and thus generate economic activity, including city tax revenue year-round. Key phrase. Domestic leisure travel has grown last year and is expected to grow at the same and steady 3% annual rate through 2030, while the ecotourism sector, in comparison, is supposed to grow at 11.7% in comparison for the same period, all things equal, with guests usually traveling in groups, consistent with the estate's design configuration. The money is there and it is being spent. We want more of it to be spent right here in this city to stimulate the local economy by elevating the disposable incomes of our residents and equally boosting proprietor-owned vendor and other hospitality businesses. In short, this city has everything to achieve this enticement vision. Coming from a modus operandi, personally, that victory is finite, recognizing that my team has conceived one of the finest layouts for the Casa over the past 12 months, consisting of a network of courts, pathways which connect its 8 unique guest suites and common areas, indoor and outdoor. That said, our last discussion sparked something. Instigated by a public remark and later picked up, and I would say inspired, by Commissioner Christian. I don't give compliments, sir. As we discussed the estates earlier in December, I tasked my team to craft a solution which opens up the property boundaries and thus grounds in order to further enhance community engagement while maintaining the architectural integrity of the quadrangle building. Visual. Hey, Brian. Nice to meet you in person. Do we have visuals? Somebody? Oh, sorry. Thank you. So we've seen this before.
Oh, there it is. Okay. It just wasn't showing up on our. I was going to ask our IT department to do that, but thank you.
Some neighborhood pictures. Just it's always good, I guess, to. The inner boundary. There was a discussion about the inner boundary. This estate, this property currently, is fully engulfed, every inch of it, by wall. 6 foot high, fully opaque, every inch of it on the neighbor's side. What we are suggesting, obviously, is an upgrade. And quite an upgrade it will be, especially with added murals and things like that, from every segment or every 5 segments or something like that. So we have some nice plans for it to keep it entertaining. The wall, we ended last time around 7:30 in December when we met. I called up my architect, say, listen, we have to engage more. So we did. What you see in front of you is a simplified version. We'll get to what this looks like. You have an ingress to the west, and then egress to the east, and then a two-way in the middle servicing the dining court and the main villa. And there's a whole bunch of gardens zone, or the first one is more of a dining nature. The second one is more of a stop and go, you know, sitting on bollards and stone bollards, things like that. And then number 3 is the east one, is a relaxed zone for whatever reason. We maintain the same plant species that we have throughout the properties. We move things around, basically. We paid extra attention around the walkways, so there's no thorns or spikes or anything like that, above and beyond the code, generally speaking. And you can see the 2 walkways. Here, maybe you can see them better with the green arrows that essentially lead from the sidewalk to the estate. This is west now, the ingress, and you can see the more of the dining area. This is north, central, which services the main villa and the dining court, as well as the more of the stop and go that I was referring to zone earlier as it relates to the garden. And finally, the relaxed zone with the egress gate to the east. Condition number 49, it was 24 feet for the driveways. We really appreciate OFM, Office of Fire Marshal, for their collaboration with us, especially in the toughest of times. Literally the Friday after the Los Angeles events, when the system was really constrained. But they came through and they lowered it to 20 feet, as we have, obviously we gave them the justifications. And the condition number 50, which my friend Nico was referring to earlier, this is the response we got, and really they did not delay at all. And I really thank Matthew and Clint and the whole team, and really collaborating, working with us. And it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's like a right angle triangle. If you have a driveway that can fit 3 cars on a single story, it's disproportionate. So this is much better. So I believe that's it for the visual. The street-facing garden, open, will be operated, maintained, and insured by the estate. I would like to ask my colleague affiliate, actually, in one of my businesses, other businesses, Ali, who came from Calabasas. He also came last time, and things were not very pleasant, but he came today as well. So he has a few words to cover a different angle as well, and then we'll wrap up very quickly and hear you out. So.
Great, thank you. And then I just want to confirm that the latest landscape plan is what we received in our packet. It might just look different on the visuals that are on the presentation.
Yes, Commissioner Seha, I'm glad you asked that question. So I was going to let the next person speak, but I did want to emphasize it's very important that the design, that the applicant, even though he spent a lot of time and it looks nice, that particular design with the 3 driveways is not part of your packet this evening. It's the same packet basically from December. So he'll have time to kind of explain that, but it hasn't been formally received by community development, and it certainly hasn't been routed to the various departments, including engineering, and engineering is obviously present tonight, so they could expand on that if need be, but that's not the proposal before you this evening.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah.
How do you define formally, Brian?
It's my understanding it would need to be submitted through the portal as a formal submittal of plans, and then it would be routed through that process.
Did you notify us of that way of doing it over the past several weeks that we have been going through it? Anyways, listen, folks. I mean, we're trying to accommodate.
I appreciate it. We're trying to make sure that this is a fair process for all applicants. But yeah, would love to hear from the other member of your team, and then we can hear if there are public comments.
All right, good evening, members of the Planning Commission, city officials, and any community members that are here present tonight. My name is Ali. I did come from Los Angeles, so I am safe from the fires, don't worry. It's an honor to be here tonight, to present the Casa del Cava project. I know some of the things I'm going to say, Mandy might have already touched on it, but mine will be short and sweet. This is more than just like another construction project. It's a promise to the city of Indio and to each of you that we are here to provide something truly meaningful for the community. From the outset, we've been told, anything is better than having a vacant lot. We couldn't agree more. The city of Indio, like any other vibrant urban space, needs development that brings hope, jobs, and lasting value to its residents. Currently, driving around the city, it's clear that there are a few active construction projects underway, and Casa del Cava will represent an opportunity to change that and fill a pressing need for both affordable lodging and community engagement. This project will serve not only as a key partner to the city's growth, especially once complete, will be a staple for the community, a place that not only provides valuable services to visitors, but also enriches the lives of the locals. One of the cornerstones of Casa del Cava is its dedication to the community and its ability to engage with residents in a meaningful way, such as exploring what this incredible city has to offer, such as the Coachella Valley Historical Museum, the up-and-coming downtown with all of its intricate murals, and not to mention the Living Desert Zoo, just to mention a few of them. We are committed to integrating community-driven spaces such as the Vinay Garden that we are proposing at the front of the property where locals can gather, relax, and share a cup of coffee. This is a place where neighbors can come together, a green space that reflects our collective commitment to the environment, sustainability, and to fostering a sense of belonging for everyone. But that's just the beginning. Casa del Cava will be more than a lodge. We plan to host holiday festivities, year-round events for the community, with the community, events that celebrate our shared culture, provide entertainment, and create opportunities for the neighbors to connect. We want this to be a place where everyone can come, enjoy themselves, and be part of something bigger than just a development project. In addition, as part of our community engagement efforts, we are excited to offer about 100 free and low-cost stays for local residents, providing them a much-needed mini getaway, a brief escape from the daily grind, and an opportunity to recharge. These stays will give locals a chance to experience the property firsthand and see how this project is directly benefiting their community. Cultural heritage plays a critical role in our design and the ethos of Casa del Cava. We are committed to honoring Indio's rich history by incorporating local art, storytelling, and the design elements in partnership with the Coachella Valley Historical Museum throughout the property, creating a space that tells the story of the city with its people. This building will be more than just a physical structure. It will be a cultural touchstone, a place where the past and present of Indio can converge, and a space for the future generations to enjoy. In addition to the social and cultural benefits, this project will be a major economic driver and hits the state's mandates and initiatives for sustainability projects of the like that we are presenting today. The construction will generate over 400 construction jobs during the build-out phase and provide long-term, full-time, and part-time employment once operational. And not to mention, we look forward to partnering with College of the Desert so that we may provide real-life, valuable work experience for our youth. To take it to another level, we will also foster local partnerships with vendors and suppliers in the community, from anywhere from spas, nail salons, laundries, just to name a couple, ensuring that the businesses in Indio are a key part of this development success. Furthermore, we project that the Casa del Cava will bring in over $500,000 in annual tax revenue, contributing directly to the city's services and infrastructure. We believe that Casa del Cava is not just a good investment for the city, it's an investment in the people of Indio. We are here to help the city's vision of sustainable growth, community engagement, and job creation to bring it to life. And we ask for your approval to move forward, and we look forward to working together to create a space that will not only serve visitors, but also become a true community asset. We hope the next time that we get to meet you all is at our project groundbreaking event, which Manny traditionally likes to do when the framing starts. And for right now, thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you so much. But before we lose both of you, I'm going to give our commissioners an opportunity to ask any questions before we see if there are public comments. Do you have any questions for the applicant? Oh, you still have more for your presentation? Please.
This is we're almost done. Looking at the status quo, one cannot help but notice 44 vacant lots currently for sale in the city, all exceeding the 1 acre criteria, which I set hypothetically. And now relating that figure to last year residential and mixed-use land closing with the same criterion, there was one lot closing. The good news is that the city has developed quite an impressive pipeline of mixed-use residential projects, as evident on the city's economic development dashboard. We wish the administration all the best to bring such projects to fruition. The city can always count on us to do what we do best in rapid mobilization, rapid construction, and later provide a full-service showcase for other investors who happen to be passing by or are staying at the estate for their city business. You don't want them staying in La Quinta to conduct city business here. You want them staying here to do business here. Otherwise, they'll take them. Worth mentioning, we did not observe any lodging projects that we know of on Indio's economic development dashboard. Pipeline diversity is paramount in the urban development of this city and any city, including industrial, of course, the source of all economic prosperity, and we're happy to see that last session one was approved. The Casa del Cava will serve as a cultural hub and tranquility spot for the neighborhood, for the community to engage, for the city residents to be proud of, and for the city's best resource, its people, to go on. I would like to thank city staff for the hard work they have contributed over the past year towards the fruition of this estate. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And if you could just stick around and see if our commissioners have any questions for you.
So this is my first meeting. I did watch the December 11 meeting, and maybe I didn't really realize that the question has been asked, but sorry if it has been answered. I'm just curious, why the name Casa del Cava?
It's first and foremost, there is a lot of respect to the local heritage. Naturally, I mean, it is a predominantly Hispanic city. I am a Mediterranean person by nature, so it was a merge between my Spanish sort of roots and European Spanish and the Spanish, and it is a place to celebrate. Cava being, a sparkling wine, Spanish sparkling wine. So on a traffic light just by Wilshire and La Brea and Los Angeles, just came by. Good question, though. Thank you.
What is the estimated cost for this project?
$8 million.
And has their funding already been somewhat secured, or?
I'm doing, quite a bit myself, and obviously the bank is assisting.
Thank you. That is it.
Okay, thank you very much. And Paulina, I think that some signatures were submitted, and I think those should be in the public record, so if we can get those up here. And then are there any comments? We're not online today, are we?
Did you like the one with the wall, without the wall, the open sort of scenario?
With the one you just showed, well, we reviewed what was on the packet, so I'll share some comments when we deliberate.
Okay. Well, you choose. I mean, we're happy to do either. I think, and what do you think? Everybody would agree.
Thank you so much. But do we have any public comments online or here in person?
We don't.
We do not. Okay, great. Fantastic. All right, then if there are no public comments, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open up deliberation. Any thoughts, comments from our team? Or other questions to our staff?
I guess my main question is, it sounds like what we were presented today is not something we can vote on because it hasn't been reviewed by all the appropriate departments. So any action we make has to be what it's in the packet that we received, correct?
Yes, Commissioner Franz, that is correct. There was some back and forth. I want to be very transparent with the project planner and the applicant. But the back and forth was the week that we were putting together the staff report. And so even though there was a discussion with the applicant and the project planner, there wasn't time to resubmit and get a packet finished and reviewed by the various departments before this meeting this evening. So that being said, we would recommend that we table it. You table it so that if that's the design he truly wants and not the design that's in your packet, it can be formally submitted. It can be formally routed to the various departments, and I would assume, although I may be wrong, that there may be some new conditions on the new design that he presented this evening.
Okay, so with that in mind, if we were to send it back saying we wanted that, I mean, what's the turnaround time for something like this to get to all the appropriate departments and back?
So this isn't a completely redesign of the entire project. So let's say he came to the counter tomorrow, or sorry, he went to the portal and he downloaded the new drawings, the new submittal. We would immediately route it to the various departments. Usually we give 30 days, but because this is a very, minor, it's not a full redo, we could probably get comments within 2 weeks from the departments, and then depending on what those comments are, we would look at rescheduling it for another meeting. But it might not come until March, depending on the timing of those comments and the new conditions.
Okay, when you had your back and forth with the applicant, was that added timeline discussed, or did it not get far enough? Because sometimes when it comes to projects and funding, time can be an issue. And it sounds like this is at least 4 weeks if we're lucky, probably closer to 8 weeks.
4 weeks is probably a good estimate.
I think 4 weeks would be a good estimate.
We can certainly have the applicant come up if that's the new design that he wants and to resubmit, formally. So we can certainly ask that of the applicant, or if he wants to keep the design that's before you this evening.
Can we ask him if he's aware of the time and if that's an issue before we move any further?
Yes, we can. Do we need to open up the public hearing again?
We could absolutely open up the public hearing to clarify for the record whether or not the applicant would like the city to look at the new design, because it should be the understanding that the only thing that the Planning Commission has before them this evening is what I'm going to call the old design, forgive me, but the old design along with all of the conditions of approval and everything that was already routed. But if the applicant would like the new design submitted, if you might tell us so that, we can be clear on that.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing and invite the applicant back. And if you could please address the question regarding the new design.
The new design was really a response to what we heard, and just naturally, there's good, there's better, one can hear, one can be agile, and that's just, we heard community between every word and the other. This is the community work, listening and absorbing. 1 week after we last met, this was submitted. We worked obviously tirelessly to generate it as fast as we can. This was 5 weeks ago. 90 minutes before this meeting is the first time I heard about any delay to the entitlement process, which was obviously not a very pleasant thing to hear, quite frankly. Ultimately, what this is a garden that is meant to, it has a lot of beautiful, engaging features that I have to pay for, I have to maintain, I have to find an insurer in California if you're lucky to find someone, which is a headache by itself, especially with, what you just saw. So I hope in the grand scheme of the 5 weeks that were given, several meetings that we had, ultimately, and I'll end here, the agencies that you are referring to, Brian, if you list them, you're talking about SoCalGas, IID, VSD. These have no business in any of this. The only person who would have business in such a thing is the city engineer. And, we are happy to work with the city engineer on condition, for example, as an added condition on what works with him with the new design, and so that what we're trying to do is save you time. That's why OFM, the Office of the Fire Marshal, when they removed that condition, we were very happy or gave us what we want.
I appreciate. I think the question is, are you interested in submitting the new plan that you presented today, knowing that that's going to extend the timeline for when this comes back, if there's no action now with what was presented? Are you interested in submitting that as the new plan, or should we not consider that and only look at what was presented to us in the staff packet so that there is no extension of that timeline? So it's really, I think the question is to you, sure. How would you like to proceed so that we would consider that?
I think building on what Commissioner Franz was saying, this is a time-sensitive matter. We've been delayed already several times. So since this is purely a landscape affair, and obviously we can amend driveways and things like that, that's easily manageable, and we can coordinate. I think with the city engineer in that regard, I think that if you gave us the authority to coordinate with the city engineer specifically, because that's the only party that's really involved in such a change, then we would like to, get business done today with some form of understanding that the city will get ultimately what it wants, and hopefully we can do much more in terms of cultural engagement, and be it in music, performing arts, comedy, etc., on private grounds,
Okay.
and all of that, which is what I think, one thing leads to the other, and you just find something, a solution that works. Why let it go? At the same time, I have to pour concrete, sir, to answer your question. So there is no answer to that question more than saying that this is a landscape play, and I would keep it as a landscape play, and,
Okay.
and we can come back and
We
discuss
will
it
evaluate then what was
separately.
presented. I appreciate that. I think we got a response. I appreciate it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and see if there are any questions for staff or any comments from our commission.
I mean, I don't think I have any questions. I think we've kind of gone round and round on what this is. Staff is basically saying that it is consistent with the general plan, even though if it's not exactly what we maybe all envisioned. So I'd really like to hear from the other commissioners to see, where it is we're looking to move on this.
Well, not to put you all on the spot, but if you have any comments, now is the time.
Looking at the plan that was in our documents that were provided by staff this evening, along with what was presented by the applicant, although I believe that there minor changes, I think I think I can make a reasonable vote on this.
Okay. You don't feel like you need to comment, but if you're, yeah.
It's an interesting project, It will bring a lot of good taxes back to the community. It's just, I'm not 100% sure this is like what the city believes or what he thinks is gonna, whatever he presents is gonna be good built. So that's gonna have some hesitation on that. So it's just, if you guys are comfortable, we can vote on it today. That's all I have to say.
Great, thank you. Thank you for all your comments. Well, I last meeting, you all know I had raised some concerns about consistency, and ultimately what our role as commissioners is to evaluate the design of the plan and make sure that it is consistent both with our general plan and our Unified Development Code. I had the opportunity to meet with our staff. I had the opportunity to meet with our city attorney because I had a lot of questions. I agree with the comments about a project like this could bring lots of revenue to the city. I'm all about that. In fact, the previous commission or the previous iteration of the commission, we went through a 1.5-year conversation about how we could bring in more economic development and job creation projects, and we've actually done something that hadn't been done previously, which was put a moratorium and then ultimately a prohibition on certain development types for an extended amount of time, which I thought was very, very unprecedented in the time that I've been here. And so, I feel like it is truly our responsibility to evaluate the consistency and what we in the general plan update 2040 set out to do. And so I appreciate the applicant's comments on what currently exists there as far as the high walls, that all of that development was done prior to our update for the new general plan with new goals and new things that we want to achieve as far as connectivity, as far as the types of design and the types of development that are coming into our community. So through this entire process, I sat down, looked at the application, and hooked up my laptop to my other screen and put the Unified Development Code on the other side and was looking back to some of the findings that both our team had, but some of the concerns that I had raised. And so I actually found that it was inconsistent with the general plan. So, and I'll walk down which particular land use policies I was looking at. So land use policy LU 3.2 sets out to encourage short block spacing for new development and has connectivity to neighborhoods. And here, the block wall, as it was presented to us, actually does not encourage street connectivity, and instead it hinders connectivity because it does not encourage pedestrian flow. I also found an inconsistency with land use policy LU 6.7, which talks about compatibility and scale, and I know we talked about there is no specific definition with scale, but the project is not compatible, in my evaluation, with the current existing neighborhood. So the bed and breakfast design is inconsistent with the types of housing that are already built around in the neighborhood. The project is not a single structure like the other types of developments that are found in the neighborhood. It has several rooms, and it's instead a larger compound consistent with some of the motels that we would find on Indio Boulevard or on Highway 111. It is more consistent with that, although I think a great business model, not necessarily with what was intended with this land use policy. Additionally, was looking at the standard consistency with our development code, and Unified Development Code 2.03.01 is meant to provide development standards for CN20, and it gives us a definition which you read earlier to us, Nico. And so here, again, I find the project is not of small scale and it is not meant for residential uses. In fact, the applicant the last time talked about some of the programmatic benefits to the community, but really the definition, or at least what is outlined, that other types of commercial non-residential uses are community serving or neighborhood serving, and this would be not necessarily serving that specific community. In regards to the overall function and design, the project is not designed in a manner that is appropriate. For me, it's not appropriate for the general community. Again, concerns about the scale, non-compatibility with the neighborhood, and the design is just inconsistent and is not functioning within this community. And then lastly, I saw the presentation about the update to the landscape plan. Unfortunately, that's not what was presented, and as the packet is, I have concerns about the landscaping, particularly Unified Development Code 3.0.2.09, which calls for landscaping that reduces heat and glare, and currently the landscaping are shrubs and palm trees. That is not, it's actually not really doing a benefit to the urban heat island problem. And as we continue to develop, these are things that I think we really need to hone in as we're doing these design reviews on the types of projects. So for me, based on all of those different inconsistencies and discrepancies in relation to our general plan, this was really why I decided that I wanted to continue studying the project. So in my opinion, I am making a motion to deny the project as it was presented. So.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, with respect to the motion, I'm assuming that the various items that you just pointed out, those would be the findings for your considered motion for denial.
That's correct.
Chair and Commission, I just wanted to see if the project planner can go ahead, Nicholas, and there's a couple items that actually have been addressed that you brought up, and as you deliberate on this item. So one of them is trees and providing that shade and trying to avoid that heat island that you brought up, which is a very good point. I also do believe that depending on which direction the commission goes, there's probably some things that we could get direction from the commission and then work with the applicant to update it if the commission agrees with some of those items that you brought up, so that when it comes back, those items can be addressed in a future resubmittal.
Well, I'm happy to take any directions if you all feel that that's absolutely necessary to me, and thank you for the comments. I think that the inconsistency with scale, neighborhood connectivity, I'm not sure that that's necessarily addressed in the landscape plan, and some of the things that that have done, because I got the opportunity to study the packet, and if I would have if it would have been enough for me to find a different finding, then I feel like I would have been having that conversation. But I'm also happy to make the space if you all feel that that's necessary for us to.
I think you made a motion, right? So we have to continue with that.
Correct. If there's a motion, I don't know if there's a second or not, but we could, yeah. Motion's on the table. So it fails for lack of a second, and you could continue your deliberations.
All right. So I guess, Nico, if you could please then tell us more about some of the changes that came about after I send you guys these.
I know that one of the issues that came up was, like you said, landscaping for trees and having a sort of shade within, the landscaping of the community or of the development to reduce heat surface, which brings me back to the resolution 16 that was, or resolution item number 16 that was added. Now, while this is something, as I previously stated, that is required on every development, part of the reason why I did want to make sure that we did include it into our resolution is to point out that, and the resolution reads as follows: to reduce ambient surface temperatures in parking areas, the applicant shall comply with section 3.03.08L of the Indio Unified Development Code. The applicant shall demonstrate compliance through a final landscape plan, site plan, which shall include the following measures: shading or light-colored materials. At least 50% of the parking areas not landscape shall include shaded covering with light-covered materials. Shall have solar reflective index SRI of at least 29 or a combination of both. Shade mechanism shall be provided exclusively by drought-tolerant wells situated to desert climates, chosen for their broad canopies and dense foliage and maximize coverage. The following tree species highly rated for compatibility with the desert climate are recommended: acacia, and excuse me for I can't pronounce all of these correctly. Acacia inuera, Parkinsonia, Prosopis pubescens, Vechelia rigidula, Quercus turbinella, and Sophora secundiflora. The required shading must be achieved within 15 years of the planting. And the verification for this is the final landscape plan and site plan shall indicate the method used to meet the shading or SRI requirements and the expected shade coverage timeline if using trees. The plan shall be reviewed and approved. The plan, shall be reviewed and approved by the planning division through a final landscape plan submittal, which is required for all applicants in every single development.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And for those of us that are not landscape architects or arborists, it'd be good to get some pictures of the types of trees that you're talking about, get a better sense, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that clarification. Yeah, I'm happy to hear any more if there's a deliberation or if anybody would like to make a motion since the motion I made.
Would you mind putting up the site plan one more time, Nicholas? So another point that was brought up, which I think is a very, very good point, is the connectivity. So one of the things that the applicant is trying to achieve, which we're looking for direction from the commission, is removing the walls. So that would help with the connectivity. I don't have a pointer, but another option would be, well, thank you. We go ahead and do that. So, well, okay, go ahead. If you don't want me to bring up these ideas, we could go ahead and do deliberation.
Well, I'm at this point. I've made a motion, but there was no track, so I'm actually curious to see if there are any other questions for staff from the other commissioners, or if they're ready to make a motion.
Well, now that you brought up the wall, okay, what we are approving, what's in our packet, has a wall, right? It's the old original plan that so everything's intact. So the only thing before us now is what we have here. If we were going to even discuss removing the wall, I mean, I love the idea of adding that connectivity in the front for the community, but that's not what's in front of us, and we can't approve that, right? And we can't unless we go back and basically start this cycle kind of over.
So the item that you are obviously deliberating upon is in your packet. That said, the Planning Commission does have discretion, and it does have discretion. I'm going to just make an example. You know, if the Planning Commission wanted to see, you know, a certain removal of, it could condition the project to do so based upon, you know, the appropriateness, maybe in the finding, where the applicant works with the city engineer and the city engineer has the final say. You know, something like that. There is a way to, what I'm going to say, you know, manipulate the plan a little bit. Things are within your discretion. The kind of trees, the landscaping, et cetera, they are within your discretion. Just because a plan is brought before you, this is not just a stamp of approval. The Planning Commission has certain discretion, but I think what happened prior, and staff could correct me if I'm wrong, I did not see, just right now I saw it, but that new plan that was submitted, I think there could have been a completely different plan that could have, forgive me if I'm wrong, affected circulation patterns and things like that. That's where I think that staff would have needed to have recirculated that plan, you know, to the engineering department, et cetera. But that's how I understood it coming in.
Okay, so just let's see if we can keep this simple. So if we say, whatever, let's say we're going to approve this, but we would like to encourage or direct staff to meet with the developer to try and incorporate this concept of being more open with the front areas, with consideration to all the departments that need to approve it, approving it, and if they don't approve it, then we're back to the plan that we did approve. Is that how that would lay out?
So if what I'm hearing is more connectivity in the front, and we do have our city engineer here, but the Planning Commission could condition the project to have the applicant work with the city engineer to see if there is a viable way to have more connectivity with the discretion left up to the city engineer. And any other departments, you know, who might need buy-in. I don't know who looks at those kinds of walls. That is something that the Planning Commission could consider, as you know, connectivity is an issue. That is how my understanding that the Planning Commission does in fact have the discretion to do that.
I want to sort of go back to some of my initial comments. The connectivity and landscape was two pieces of a larger sort of observation and evaluation of what the project is. And ultimately, I would be remiss if I didn't share that, you know, lots of community members actually reached out before the first time we saw it, after we saw the project, and particularly about the sort of where this project is being located in John Nobles and the history of what has happened in those communities was raised as one of the concerns. And so this actually led me to, you know, really try to understand how this project would be integrated with the community that's already there and the potential impacts, long-lasting, unforeseeable impacts. And so I really appreciate that the applicant went and spoke to the community, and we get the opportunity to do the same, and just really thinking about the displacement that actually happened there led me to really evaluate the consistency with the current community that is living down in this neighborhood and how this project plays into that. And that really, like I said, I would be remiss to say, or to not say, that these were comments that were raised by the community that then gave me the opportunity to really do this, thorough evaluation of its consistency and how it plays out in regards to our Unified Development Code and our general plan.
And if I could, our city engineer is here. If you would like him to speak on that new access point or points. And I just want to emphasize that was not submitted. So it was brought to the attention of the project planner, and it was put on the overhead, but it was not a formal submittal. And for the record, whatever happened 5 weeks ago, that was never a formal submittal. So that's why we're here at this time.
And Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I do want to make it clear that that again, if there's like major circulation or anything like that, I mean, that's definitely something that would have to go through, the city processes again, and then back through the planning commission. But what I'm saying is, is there discretion to maybe increase landscaping or things like that, without affecting those major elements? I would say yes, but the city engineer, I know, definitely would have something to say. And again, what is before you this evening, to make it triple clear, is not that new what I'm going to call the circulation plan. I don't know exactly what it was. But.
Okay, Mr. City Engineer, if you could come up.
Good evening, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity. Juan Raya, City Engineer. Just want to make clear and differentiate between both site plans, the old plan and the new plan. Although the applicant, the intent is to address some of your concerns with landscaping and connectivity, it does bring up some engineering traffic safety concerns with adding 3 driveways compared to the initial one that was proposed and before you. So if the new layout was to proceed and move forward, we would not support more than 2 driveways. So I just want to make that clear and for the record.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much for that clarification.
Okay. I mean, basically, at least what I'm getting is that we need to kind of focus on what was submitted. And if we're going to move forward, I think we need to kind of stick to that. And, I grew up out here. I have the same concerns you do with community. But I also understand that, as far as I can see, staff has said that this meets our plans, the rules that we put in place. It is a private property to be developed by a private owner. Is it exactly what I think should be there? That's my opinion, right? But if all the commissioners had to agree that what's being built is perfect, we wouldn't get anything built in the community. And John Nobles has had a lot of trauma. There's a lot of history there. We're not even going to go into that in detail. But this is new development, new seeds that could possibly, to me, lead to new and better developments coming into that neighborhood, which I think they deserve a shot at having some great development in John Nobles. And again, is it perfect? No, but I'm not a developer and it's not my property. And as far as staff has shown us, it meets what we put in place, and we did the plans the way we did them because we weren't going to change the rules to every developer that came in. We were going to set the guidelines, and if it met the guidelines, we're going to go with it. That was part of the whole redo of the plan. So at this point, I mean, I'd love to hear what the other commissioners have to say, and if there's, and I completely understand where you're coming from. I do. And I expect all the time that you committed to doing it. But I think that, for me, I think overall, it's different, it's unique, and it could be the beginning of something new. So I'd love to hear from our new commissioners.
As mentioned by Commissioner France, there's people that are going to want it. There's going to be people that don't want it everywhere, no matter what location it is. I do agree that it's different, and again, I have my own opinion about the project, but I think it's unique, and I do believe that some of the comments or statements that were presented by the property owner's partner about the community engagement, I think might go a long ways. That's my opinion.
I just want to respond to, it is unique. Its permissible uses are bed and breakfast. A bed and breakfast, as we understand it, it is not. And that is the inconsistency with the scale of this project. I just want to remind us that it is what we do here as a commission, not to go back on staff. We appreciate all of the hard work that they've done, and they are the folks that help us get to this very point. But as a commission, as appointed commissioners, it is our responsibility to do thorough review and make sure that the project as it is being presented by staff and the applicant is consistent with the general plan and our Unified Development Code. And this is where ultimately I'm finding the inconsistency. What is permissible in this particular land use designation is a bed and breakfast or other commercial neighborhood serving. That is the intended. Our city council worked very hard to approve this new general plan update. We worked very hard to make sure that the zoning land use designations were appropriate for the individual communities. By us approving a project that is inconsistent with the intended land use designation is saying that all of that work and all of that energy that went into planning for these types of neighborhoods is not adequate or can be interpreted as the applicant sees fit. And I have nothing against the project. I have nothing. I think the project as it was presented, it looks really cool. But that's not necessarily what is here, or whether we want to diversify commercial typologies. I'm all for that. Like I said, going back to my original comment about what we went down when we were looking at storage facilities and what that really meant. And we said, we want to stay true to what the land use designation was intended for. And when we were looking at light industrial land use designation, we were saying, this is intended for job creation. That type of development, job creation, it does not. And that's what I'm evaluating here once again. I'm saying the intended use, although the project would be wonderful in the city, I think the project would be wonderful in other areas of our city where there is lodging, commercial uses allowed. That is what we do here in the commission, and that's what I'm evaluating. And I frankly, I think all the things that you're saying, the project is cool. I agree, the project is cool. It would diversify. We don't have any of this type. But what is in front of us is this a bed and breakfast? Is the design adequate with the land use designation? And what I'm sharing with you all is that I did this very thorough read through to understand and looked through our development code, looked through our general plan. I read every line just to make sure that it was consistent. And the added sentiment behind the fact that if we approve this project because we think it's cool, it is actually sending a message to a community that has been historically affected by decisions made very much by a body like this one and our city council that did not take the intended approach or the due diligence to make decisions that would be of benefit to that specific community, not the city as a whole.
I have a question for you, Vice Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja. So thank you for doing all this hard work and research. Very impressive. My question to you is, did you sit down with staff and then did you ask them these questions? And then,
I did. In fact, I met with Kendra, who is still here, our principal planner. She's gone now. I met with her. I met with Jennifer, our city attorney, to make sure that my interpretation of our policy was not an inadequate interpretation of the policy. Forward that to our new development director, forward those right before the last meeting where we didn't have quorum and it got canceled. So I have vetted it with staff, and they're aware of all of these findings. I think part of the findings was the effort to try to change the things that could be changed, like the landscape plan. These things are not fundamental to the land use designation. What is fundamental to the land use designation is the design, and ultimately, when we're looking at these projects, that's what we're really looking at. Is the design consistent with the land use designation? And I think if this would have been a project consultation, I think it would have been a very different sort of process. We would have said, well, here is how we see this land use designation and its intended commercial non-residential uses. Because what was presented did not come through a project consultation as it was, this is what I'm saying. And I don't mean to get too passionate about it, but I truly do believe that the comments from the community concerns about this type of development in this type of community are very valid and sparked in me a willingness to want to really thoroughly look at every detail of the design and see if it really was consistent with this land use development type. We have done this in the past. I'm sure your residents, you've been paying attention, where we've gotten some really cool, flashy projects in front of us that we've all gone very gun-ho, and we've made some accommodations, and we said, yes, the applicant is right, and then they don't come to fruition, and then it's all over the news, and then, so my suggestion and what I'm exhorting, I know you two are brand new and you probably are like, what did I walk into? But what I'm exhorting our team is to really evaluate, is this project in this community the intended design of the land use designation, and does it meet our development code standards? And that's my question to you. I have my answer, but that's my question to you.
So Chair, let me, it's probably because I've been on here a little bit longer. I'm sorry, guys, this is the tough way to get started. Your findings do not negate the findings of staff. So there was lots of things that were looked at, not just one or two or three different things. And when you look at it, what you came up with, your idea was that, no, this does not meet. When staff reviewed it, okay, over, I don't even know how many hours, and this is what they do every day, consistently, for a living. And they had findings that said it does meet. So at this point, your findings don't negate their findings. So I think for us as commissioners, like I said, I agree, it's not perfect, okay, it's not. But I have a lot of faith in staff and in their ability to look at the code, look at the rules that we're supposed to abide by, and come back with the recommendation. So if I'm going to go against the recommendation for staff, I have to have, like you do, a very passionate reason to do it. I'm not getting the same feelings about this project. Now, it may or may not come to fruition, right? But every single project that we ever vote on may or may not. And I've learned that until there is a shovel in the ground and they start to put in the infrastructure, it's just a possibility, correct? So I really feel that staff has done their homework, and based on the rules and the plans that we all approved, including City Council, staff is saying that it does meet. So to me, that is where I'm looking at it. It isn't that I didn't do my homework, it isn't that I didn't, or just because it's cool. I do think that it's different, but I also believe in staff, that they did their research, they did the homework, they went through and they made sure that this met what we were trying to do. That's what I'm focused on at this point.
I just want to respond to that. I agree, and this is not a reflection on Nico or our previous planner or our new development director. In fact, this was actually under the direction of a previous community development director that we just recently transitioned out. So this is really, and I always had an issue with the interpretation of the sort of ambiguous language that we have that may or may not be, and now we have new direction, now we have new leadership, and so I don't think that this is a reflection particularly on staff. Me saying this is ultimately, like, if we're reading the if we're reading what the commission does, it is literally our job to evaluate the findings, and it is in our discretion to say, yes, we agree, or no, we agree. It does not mean that by saying, no, we don't agree, it's reflective negatively on our team. I think our team is going to work with the applicant to get the project to this very point. Then it is up to us to say, yes, the project is consistent with our general plan, with these findings. Do we have another finding? Like, that's ultimately the process. Again, no disrespect, or this is not a reflection on our team's ability to be able to bring a project forward, but it is not their responsibility to do what we do here when we meet, to evaluate the impact, to evaluate how it's consistent. That's what we do. And so I think those are two very different roles. Otherwise, staff would be sitting up here and be the ones that are appointed to the commission. I think that is literally what we're meant to do here. So I don't think it's a negative reflection. I actually happen to do this for a living too. And so, you know, I think that's part of the sort of emphasis and the level of inquiry. And so, that not to sway at all, but I just want to make sure that I'm responding that this is not in any way an attempt to go against staff, because we have denied projects that have been recommended by staff.
Absolutely.
Many times. In fact, you have moved projects against staff recommendations many times. I don't think that's necessarily been an observation or a negative thing about
Correct.
staff.
But I think at this point, I think this is kind of where we are, right? And unless our new commissioners have anything they want to add, I think I'd like to make a motion and see where it goes.
So I do want to add a couple things. Although, and I can't speak for Felipe, but although we may be new to the commission, we are, for what I do as a living, I'm very community involved. I've been a resident here in Indio, but also look at development, how developments can incorporate things that the community is going to benefit from. And as you mentioned, you don't, as one of the statements that in regards to this potential project of not creating jobs, I think it is creating jobs because it's, yes, they may be temporary for the construction, but as we heard from the applicant and the business partner, they're incorporating the community, the College of the Desert, people that are looking and getting into the infrastructure, the construction building, along with creating programs that are going to benefit the community around there. And I understand the history from there. But again, as we all talked about this already, whatever is decided today, it may come, it may not. But I think it's, at this point, I do agree with the commissioner that I think we've had a decent discussion already, and I think we're ready for a vote.
I'll entertain a motion.
On the screen. There it is. Okay, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 2101, conditionally approving case file number plan PRD 24-0012, the Casa del Cava project. We had some items of conditions of approval.
I did want to ask, did you want to incorporate, as the assistant city attorney recommended for the city
I would like
engineer?
to incorporate that the conversation take place between engineering and staff to see if there is a way to create a little more community and connectivity without endangering pedestrians, traffic, and things that engineering would not approve.
If I could add that, when we have a condition developed, depending on what direction the commission goes, to add a condition that limits this site to 2 driveways, since that's what the city engineer said they would only approve. So I think it would be good
Sure,
if you mention that in your motion,
let's add the
if
limit.
it goes that way.
Yep, the limit of 2 driveways per engineering's recommendations.
Correct. And of course, the connectivity as well that you mentioned.
Correct, and the connectivity.
I'll second it.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Santos,
Yes.
Commissioner Franz,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Rodriguez Ceja.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and congratulations to the applicant. We hope it actually does get built. Thank you. We'll move on. Looks like there's no action items, no study session items. This is a moment for commissioner comments.
Just want to say welcome to all the new people in the room. There's quite a few. We have Brian. We're looking forward to working with you. And, of course, our 2 new commissioners. And happy 2025, everybody.
I just want to say this is an honor to be here. Today was a hard meeting, but I look forward to work along with my commissioners for the better of the city of Indio, because we're all residents, we all love the city, and then I hope that we all want the best for the city. So I'm happy to be here, and then I look forward to work with you guys. Thank you.
I would also second what Felipe stated. Thank you guys for having me here. It's an opportunity, and I think with different mindsets and different views, we all come to the same agreement. That's everything's for the betterment of the community and the city.
Yeah, I want to say welcome to our two new commissioners, and yeah, I want to say thank you for volunteering. This is not an easy job, as those of us that have been here for a long time, and you know, yeah, that was not necessarily the easiest meeting. Could have been much easier, but I think that's part of what we do here. It is our intended job, and in coming to a consensus, and that's why there are 5 people appointed to the seat, because we all have different backgrounds, because we all contribute in different ways, and because we all get an opportunity to, really think about the things that really matter to us and how that reflects back into the types of projects that we are moving forward. So just want to say thank you and welcome to both of you. And yeah, thank you. And welcome to our new Community Development Director. I'm very much looking forward to working with you. This is a great time to be in the city of Indio. As you can see, we are very busy.
Yes, we are.
Constantly very busy, and so we're very thankful to have you and to give our team some support and direction, and we hope you get fully staffed soon, because I'm sure that you are all having a hard time with all the applications.
We're working on that.
Yeah, great. All right, fantastic. Do we have any staff items?
Yes, I do have a couple items I wanted to bring up, especially since we have 2 new commissioners, and welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. Between March 5th and the 7th in Santa Rosa, there's going to be a Planning Commissioners Academy. It'll be open to all the commissioners if you're interested. So please contact me, and then we can arrange, travel and different things that are associated with this. But if you could please consider that, especially the new commissioners, March 5th through the 7th. Again, that'll be in Santa Rosa. And the other item I just wanted to bring is just a reminder, especially the new commissioners, again, to fill out the Form 700. It's all completed online. I actually recently did mine as well. So if you could do that, and it will be digitally done and signed, and then staff will know that that's completed, and that helps us do our job as well. That concludes the staff comments.
Nico, you seemed like you had something to add.
I did, as the assistant planner for the city and most senior planner for the Community Development Department, I did want to formally introduce Brian Halverson, our Community Development Director. We're extremely excited as staff. We're extremely excited to have him, and so far he's been great to work with.
Great to hear. Great to hear. And we have lots of things that that we've been working on that we can't wait to relay back. There's lots of stuff that we've initiated that we're hoping will continue. So thank you and welcome, and thank you, Nico. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting to the next Planning Commission meeting on February 12th, 2025. Thank you.